Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Season and Serve. My name is Melissa and today we are in the garden for the first time this year and it's July. If you've been watching me for a while, you will know that I normally start my gardening videos in April and give you a month-by-month update to show the garden progress throughout the season. This year I have a very good excuse for not doing that, and that was because we had construction going on around the house and there was scaffolding everywhere, so I actually wasn't able to get into the garden until June. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a recap on all the things that I did to prepare my garden for this season with this construction delay. So I'm going to show you how I started my seeds, how I potted them up, and then how I actually prepared the garden beds and planted. And we're also going to go on a fun little trip to my favorite garden center, GardenWorks. So if you want to see my garden throughout the season so far, just keep on watching. This year, winter in the garden was actually really exciting, and that's because we got snow. This is very special for us, especially living in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where snow is very rare compared to the rest of Canada. So we got to enjoy the snow, and in early spring, I started my seeds using these Jiffy pots. And of course, my little sweet angel baby girl kitty cat, Pearl, she is here to help me out and to supervise me as well as I plant my seeds. But as you can see, I'm gardening here with West Coast seeds, and this tray I'm starting off with my flowers. So I planted some zinnias, some sunflowers, and some cosmos this year, and they are all so beautiful. And I will say that I am a brand ambassador for West Coast Seeds, and I'm so proud to work with them because they have such amazing varieties of plants and different seeds to start, and I always find that I am very successful with the different seeds. If there's anything that goes wrong, it's something on my end and not the actual issue with the seed. So I love West Coast Seeds, and for the 2025 gardening season, they brought in so many different varieties of flowers and vegetables and herbs. They are continually expanding their selection, and I just love it. There's always something new to discover, even for seasoned gardeners like me. And as you can see, I do use a chopstick to plant my seeds, especially in these Jiffy pots. I find that the opening for actually putting the seed in there is a little small, and it's hard to actually cover the seed with your fingers. So I like to use a chopstick to kind of help me out and make sure the seed is in there and covered in soil. And whenever I start my seeds, I like to set some goals and intentions for the gardening season. And this year I actually had two goals. My first goal was to grow more flowers because not only are they beautiful, they are also really good for pollinators and getting the rest of your plants pollinated. And the second goal was to actually grow some pumpkins. I am attempting to grow pumpkins in a townhouse garden, so we're going to see how this goes. I love growing pumpkins, but I think Pearl also really enjoys them too. So this year we are attempting to grow Pearl's pumpkin patch. All right, everyone, so it is time to plant up my plants that I sowed way too long ago. I should have actually done this probably a month ago. It's just been like so busy and I haven't had time to plant these up, and I can tell that these plants are struggling. So today's the day. Normally I would do this during the day and film it and make it all nice for you guys, but like I feel like time is of the essence for these plants. So we're gonna plant this up tonight, hence why the lighting is all different, but this is a nice fun activity to do after work, I think. It's very relaxing, very calming. Already had dinner, the kitchen's clean, so I can just like make a big mess on our dining table and then clean it up later, but have fun in the process. So I'll show you some of the plants up close. I'm a little concerned. Let's just say that. All right, so these are probably the best looking plants because I just sowed them a week ago. We have zinnias here. We also have some peppers, pumpkins, and squash. These are, oh my God, what are these? Oh, sunflowers, and then chives, or scallions, sorry, not chives. So we have all those going there. Those are bright green, vibrant, beautiful. And then we come over to here. We have our basil. Basil's still looking pretty good. It needs new soil though. But then we come over to our tomatoes and a cucumber plant here. This cucumber plant is yellowed and it's already putting on fruit, and it shouldn't be doing that this early. That's because I didn't pot it up fast enough. So I'll actually be starting another cucumber from seed today just to make up for this one. But yeah, these tomato plants, they're looking a little bit yellow. I'm a little concerned. So we're going to pot these up. I'm going to give them some nice fertilizer and hope for the best for these. We also have some zinnia here. This one I started pretty early and that one's looking all right. And this one is a amaranth, and it's supposed to be this color, so it's not dead. It's supposed to be the color when it's a young plant. So we got that there. Then I also have some lettuce. This I'm actually probably just gonna put right out in the garden. It's cool enough now we can use that perfectly in the garden. And then I have more tomatoes here that I have to plant up. So sad. They're looking like nice and tall, but they're yellow, which I'm very concerned about. So we're gonna revive them, give them some fertilizer, give them some nutrients, and they should be good. We also have some dahlias to plant up, which is super exciting. I got these from Lily's Garden Store. This is out of Ontario, I believe. But I got the dahlia tubers and they came wrapped so cute. And look at that. That is so cute. And each of them are labeled with like a stamp. So yeah, you can tell which one is which when I plant it. And look who's being the sweetest little angel. I'm sure she'll be on the table with me in, what do we say, 10 minutes, Pearl? Once I get started, you're gonna want to see what I'm doing. While I'm potting all these plants up, I'll tell you about some of the varieties of plants I'm very excited to grow this year. And we'll start off with some beautiful flowers from West Coast Seeds. The first one is a zinnia called Queenie Lime Blotch. It has a really beautiful lime green color with a pink center that looks absolutely stunning. This is brand new for 2025 and they're coming up in the garden right now, so I'm very excited to see them when they bloom. Another great one is Queenie Lime Orange. I love this color palette, especially for fall, and it is just super beautiful in the garden. And of course, every year I grow my Cosmos. This is the Snow Puff variety, and I love how frilly the petals are. And moving on to vegetables, I'm very excited to grow this little cherry tomato called Marzito. It is like a little San Marzano, but like a cherry tomato size, and they look so cute. I'm also very excited for this brand new seed for 2025, which is called Ola Escaladora. This is a vining type zucchini, so I'm going to grow it on our trellis in the backyard and see how it does there. And for my pumpkins, I'm growing a variety called Winter Luxury from West Coast Seeds, and these stay pretty small, about 3 to 5 pounds, and I will be growing that on the trellis as well. I'm also growing a mini variety called Jack Be Little. These are super tiny and cute. And finally, I'm growing another variety called Autumn's Touch, and this is actually from Vessi Seeds, but they stay a small 3-pound size. And then for my dahlias, I'm growing one called Lifestyle, and this is an anemone type dahlia, which is really beautiful. I'm also trying out one called Orange King that has a nice dark orange flower and dark foliage, as well as a beautiful one called Joey Nicky that has a mix of yellow and orange. And while all those little starter plants were growing, this is what the garden was looking like in the backyard. There was stuff absolutely everywhere because there was some construction going on at the house, and there was scaffolding everywhere, and it was a whole thing. Because of all the scaffolding, we had to move all of the big plant pots into the garden beds so they wouldn't get damaged by the construction workers, which unfortunately meant I didn't get things like lettuce or radishes this spring. But I did get lots of flowers, including some tulips, my peony, sweet peas, and then a beautiful David Austin Tranquility Rose. The spring also brought lots of different fruits as well, including our blueberry, strawberries, and a raspberry bush that we got at our favorite garden store, GardenWorks, which we'll go to now. All right, good morning. We're at GardenWorks and they have the 30% off sale today, so we're here. Our mission is to get peppers, strawberries, some herbs, and flowers. So let's go in and see. Let's try this one.
You can smell those.
Purple basil.
go over there and look at those plants?
Yeah, let's go see. Ooh. Look at you, designer here. At the very bottom.
It's not like you have to bury it, you just have to.
All right, so we just got back from GardenWorks and they had their 30% off a weekend sale. So we went today on Saturday to get everything we needed before it got sold out. And we picked up so many good things. And honestly, I had such a fun time. And I always have a great time at GardenWorks, but I also think David had a fun time too. He picked out quite a few plants that I have in the hall behind me that I'm gonna show you. But he was like picking out plants and I was like, oh yeah, we could do that. Oh, we could do that with that. Like it was like a collaboration. It felt so nice. Yeah, overall, I think for the haul, I was not expecting to buy what we bought. For summer, I was thinking, you know, something pink or purple or yellow, be really bright, but we went the actual total opposite and we got something very dark, very moody. And I honestly think that is a better choice, at least for me, because I am very much wanting to have, you know, spooky season and Halloween, at least by July. I'm a little ridiculous, but I kind of get into that mood a little bit earlier because I have to start planning everything for my blog and my website that early. So it's kind of nice to just kind of have it all done and have it last throughout the summer and into the fall. I don't have to think about planting anything in there till winter, which is really nice, honestly. Like it gets really busy here, getting ready for fall in a couple months. So yeah, it's wild. But with that, you probably saw in the video before kind of like what colors and styles I picked out, but we're definitely going for more of like a gothic kind of like dark, moody planter style this summer. And I am so excited. So let me show you the varieties of plants that I got for the planters, and then I'll show you the other stuff we got for our garden in our backyard. All right, so this is our plant haul, and you can see kind of what I was going for here. These are going to be the plants for our front planters, and they are stunning. So I'll walk you through each one, and then these are all the herbs and some vegetables we got and more. So let me run through each of these. We got some Diamond Frostiforbia from Proven Winners. I always watch Garden Answer and she plants with this quite often in her planters, and I had to have it. I've never grown this before and it just looks so beautiful. This is definitely more summery compared to the other plants I got, but it is beautiful. It's nice and open and airy and wispy, and it smells really nice. It smells like when you walk into like a flower shop and it just smells like green, like chlorophyll, like it smells so nice and fresh. This is kind of like our accent plant that is gonna go in the planter, but these are so pretty. I love these. And then this is the plant that kind of kicked off the whole theme. David spotted this. This is a Sweet Caroline Medusa Black from Proven Winners. It's a sweet potato vine, but it's more like open and frilly leaves compared to, you know, the rounded or heart-shaped leaves, which is super cool. And I love the green and the purple together. It is definitely giving Halloween. I love this plant. So it's gonna trail, it's gonna grow down and around. It's gonna kind of like spread or like spill over the planters. So I think this is gonna be super pretty, and the texture of it is just stunning. And then we were walking around and David found this other plant. Look at how cool this is. This looks like it's something out of like a Tim Burton movie. It is super cool. I've never seen this plant before, but it is a petunia. It is called Tumbelina Superstar. Sure. I love plant names. They can be so funny sometimes. But look at how cool that is. It's not like a regular petunia. It's definitely got more layered leaves, and there's so many buds on this already too, which I'm very excited for. So this looks like it's gonna be a very productive plant. And this is also gonna kind of spill over the outside, but I'm gonna kind of train it to grow, throughout the base of it. So we'll see, but it looks so cool. I can't wait to see this in the planter. And then on our way out, we walked by the coleus section and we got this coleus. It is called Merlot, which is really cool. It's definitely more of a reddy purple too, which I kind of like. So it's like contrasting against the Medusa vine, but it is beautiful, especially with the green underneath. It's too cool. I love it. It is perfect. So this will grow nice and tall. So this will be like the tallest piece in our arrangement, and seeing this for fall, like, it's great. It's great. I love it. That's gonna be the look of our planters. Isn't that so cool? I'm obsessed. Like, I love it. And then when it comes to like September and we have pumpkins and stuff ready for harvesting or for picking up at the grocery store or the garden center, you just pop an orange pumpkin in here and it's like set for Halloween. It's perfect. Like, I think I'm gonna do this every year. No, I'll definitely mix it up, but like, this is perfect. I am obsessed with this. Oh my God, I love it, Pearl. So for our backyard, we got some strawberries. We currently have 2 plants out there right now, but for us, 2 plants aren't enough because you get like 4 strawberries. So we got a couple more to add to our collection. And for our strawberries, I actually plant them in the raised black containers that we have from Costco. They're just like a waist high kind of like planter situation. But I plant them all in there and they kind of act like as an understory plant for peppers. So I grow the peppers and strawberries together. So the peppers grow nice and tall and the strawberries kind of fill out underneath it. And it is just perfect. It's the best like use of space, I find. So I got the Seascape variety and another variety called Fort Laramie. I've tried Seascape before, like a long time ago in the old house, but I haven't had one for a while, so I got that. And then I've never tried Fort Laramie, but it's an ever-bearing strawberry, so it's kind of like gonna produce all year, and it's already producing right now. There's some little strawberries coming out. And then I also got some herbs. I'm gonna be adding this to our little barrel planter in the backyard where we put all the herbs. I wanted to add in some cilantro because we love cilantro, and whenever I get it, I only use like a couple stems, maybe like 4 or 5 from like the bunch. So it's a good way to kind of, have cilantro, but not like waste a whole bunch from the store kind of thing. So just pick what you need, and it's beautiful and it smells amazing. And then I also got dill. I really struggle with growing dill from seed. I tried this year, it didn't work again. So I just figured we'll get some from the garden center, and this one is really pretty. So, oh yeah, that smells delicious. Quite shockingly, I had to buy peppers this year from the garden center. I had grown, I think like 4 or 5 different varieties of peppers and only one came up. And the one that came up was a shishito, which, shishitos are delicious, but I need jalapenos. I like, they're an essential for me. So we picked up a start from the garden center, just like regular jalapeno. And then we also got cayenne pepper. I've never grown cayenne pepper. I've only ever eaten it as like a dried powder, got like a spice kind of thing. So we'll see how these grow. There'll definitely be different flavors, but they'll be really cool. And then the brightest thing that we got in their little plant haul here, this is an osteospermum and it's called Blue-Eyed Beauty. And David picked this out. He just really liked the color of it. So I'm gonna put this in the back garden. And it is really unique. I'm not really like a big osteospermum or daisy fan, but this one looks super cute and it's very unique. So we're gonna try growing this one. This will be our little like bright summery color compared to everything else that we have, but it'll look really pretty in the garden for sure. And then the other thing I got was some savory seeds from West Coast Seeds. I'm gonna start growing these in little peat pots, but savory is kind of like a different type of thyme. Like it's a different species, but it's very reminiscent of thyme. And if you've ever had Swiss chalet, the little dipping sauce that comes with it, this is the secret ingredient in that. I did a lot of research because I love Swiss chalet sauce. It's definitely an Ontario thing. People in BC, I don't think, it doesn't translate. I think the equivalent for like British Columbians is like white spot, but Swiss chalet is like, the roast chicken chalet dinner with the dipping sauce. So good. So I got the herb to make the dipping sauce. So hopefully you'll see a dupe for the specialty dipping sauce on my website at some point here in the future, but it all depends on growing the savory. So I'm gonna start it today. I'm gonna put it in little peat pots and it might be ready for summer. We'll see. I don't know. I think it'll overwinter well. So that is our plant haul. I am so excited. I'm just like looking at the table here and I'm like, I am so excited for fall. It is gonna be wonderful. So I think today I actually will plant the front planters. I'll film that, we'll do that together, which will be super fun. And then I'm gonna wait a little bit longer to put stuff in our backyard just because we have scaffolding up still. So it's a little bit messy back there. So I'm gonna wait like another week and hopefully they'll finish up this week, take everything away so I can put everything else in the garden. Besides the scaffolding, it's also very cold out. Well, not like very cold, but it's like 13, 14 degrees, which I'm loving, honestly. Like, it's perfect for me. But yeah, I think to put like actual plants out, summer plants out, I think it's a little too risky. So yeah, I think it's going down to like 7 or 8 degrees at night, which, you know, plants will survive that, but I don't want to kind of stress them out too much. So with that, let me go plant our front planters. Let's go. So excited. Hey everyone, we are outside in the garden. Today is the day. I'm gonna be clearing out our garden beds and then also planting our summer crops. So we have tomatoes, peppers, I even have pumpkins. I can't wait to grow pumpkins. I'm so excited. So I'll show you what the garden is looking like and then we'll get to planting. But there is so much to do, so we gotta get started. All right, so we're gonna be tackling all of these raised beds. We have strawberries in here for now, but I am gonna put peppers in here. So we're gonna plant those there. I might do a couple peppers in this one as well, but we have a calla lily that's coming up. Look at how pretty the leaves are. So gorgeous. And then we also have a dahlia, and I should have moved this a while ago, but it survived the winter in this container. So I'm just gonna leave it, I guess, for this year. It's already producing flowers and so many buds. So we have that. And then we also have all these pots. I have to take all the daffodils out of this, take the old parsley out of that and sorrel. We're keeping obviously the bay tree here, but we're gonna redo a bunch of pots and plant some stuff in here. But we also have kale to harvest and I'm gonna take some peas off as well. Yeah, tons of kale. I can't get over how much kale we have. We're gonna be eating kale forever. But yeah, lots of garlic, lots of kale. We have some spent kale here and some peas. These are the beautiful sweet peas that we're growing. They smell amazing. Oh, so gorgeous. And then over on this side, we also have more peas, more kale, more garlic. And then I have some planters that I have to move out of here. Lots of stuff. We have so much stuff to do. So let's get started. So this is what the garden was looking like after all the construction was done, and it was an absolute mess. But now that all the scaffolding was gone, I had enough space to get into the garden and plant all the plants that we started from seeds or picked up from GardenWorks. And the first thing I tackled was what I like to call our herb barrel, and this is where we plant all of our herbs that I use for cooking in my recipes and in just like everyday cooking. So I had a huge parsley plant in there that we had to take out. It had bloomed, it had spent, so that was done. I also took out the sorrel plant that, as you can see, is super deeply rooted in here, but this was also spent. And then I just temporarily removed the sage so I could top up the planter with some new fresh soil. And as gardeners know, this is a task that we have to tackle every single spring. The soil just basically disappears for some reason. It gets blown away by the wind or the plants use it up. So it is just a task that we always have to do. But I like doing it in the spring, obviously, so the plants have new fresh soil to grow in. And I also transplanted a bunch of herbs that I used to make a Herb de Provence planter. And I did a little guide in the spring issue of my digital magazine, which is called A French Country Spring. You can get it on my website, but I gave a little guide on how to put together a special Herb de Provence planter so that you could make your own Herb de Provence at home. If you want to get a copy of the French Country Spring digital magazine, I will leave a link to that in the description box below, as well as the latest version for summer, which is a West Coastal Grandmother Summer. And another task for the summer was to remove all the spent spring blooms, and I removed some of the tulips that survived the raccoon attack of the spring. We had a raccoon come in and eat all of my tulip bulbs in the garden, which was so sad to me, but of course it spared the daffodils. So I went through, removed the 3 tulip stems that survived, and then I also cut back the daffodils as well. I also decided to move the daffodils and put them into clusters because I had them all individually spaced out and it just didn't look right. It didn't look natural, so I made small groupings and put those together. Then I went ahead and planted the peppers. Now I had to pick up peppers at the garden center because the peppers that I started from seed died, and that was totally my fault. They fully grew, but we had some sort of insect come in and actually eat the little leaves off. And the only one that survived was my shishito pepper that I'm planting right here. And next up, it was time to tackle harvesting our kale plants. I planted these in the fall and they grew massive, especially in the spring. So I pulled out the kale. I had a couple that were spent already and there were some that were perfectly fine for harvesting, like this huge green kale here. I don't think I've ever grown kale this big, and to see this come out of a townhouse-sized garden is absolutely incredible. And later on that evening, I went and cleaned up all the kale. I gave it a good wash, took the leaves off the stems, and then I cut up and froze it. And we're actually almost through the kale that I froze. We love kale so much, and especially when it's from the garden, it is extra delicious. And back out to the garden, here I'm dumping some new fresh soil into our garden beds, and we are so lucky we get the soil from my in-laws. They have the best garden soil, and it is just always so helpful when they give that to us in the springtime. So I'm spreading it out into a nice even layer across the garden bed, and then we're going to get to planting. I started by planting the biggest tomato first. This is the Sun Gold tomato from West Coast Seeds. This is a tried and true classic that I grow every single year, and these little cherry tomatoes taste so sweet and delicious. I absolutely love them. So I put them in this trellis that I have this year. And then I planted our other varieties, including those Marzito tomatoes that I showed you earlier, as well as Mortgage Lifter, Sweet Million cherry tomatoes, and Carolina Gold. So in order to plant some of the tomatoes as well as the pumpkin plants, I had to pull my garlic. And I don't know what exactly happened this year, but my garlic were so tiny. I've never had this happen before, but the garlic itself is really strong and flavorful, and now we have more space for pumpkins. And the variety that I'm planting right here is the Autumn Touch Pumpkin, and I'm actually not going to put this over the trellis. I'm just going to let it snake underneath all the tomato plants and see how long the vine actually gets. And then here I'm planting that Ola Escaladora vining zucchini. And on the other side of the trellis, I planted the Winter Luxury Pumpkin as well as a kabocha squash. And then to round out this planting day, I planted out some of our flowers throughout the garden beds where I planted all of the vegetables. And I also planted some cucumbers as well. And about a week after planting all those out, I went through and removed the sweet peas and the sugar snap peas that we had grown this year. So I removed some of the blooms that we had left on the sweet peas, as well as the remaining peas from our trellis. And this was going to give the pumpkins and squash lots more room to grow. I had to be super careful untangling the pea vines from the actual squash because they had already started growing so much in a week. But I was able to do that, and everything is looking good. So it's crazy to see at this point of the year, switching over from spring to summer. It is such a magical time, and I really miss how the peas looked on the trellis, but I know in just a few months there'll be lots of brand new vines with beautiful pumpkins and squash ready for fall. So after all that hard work, the garden is packed full of beautiful plants, and we have been harvesting so many things, including our blueberries and our raspberries, and I know this garden is going to turn out to be gorgeous. And if you want to see my gardening journey for this year, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. We have to see if I can grow these pumpkins. I am going to be so excited if we can, and we already have some good signs, but hopefully we will have some growing here very soon. I also want to say to stay tuned because there is going to be lots of amazing recipes that I'm going to be making using ingredients from my townhouse garden. So if you want really nice garden to table recipes, you can stick around here on YouTube, or you can even go to my website right now. There's lots of amazing recipes already up there. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to enjoy the best of the season every day.